Alaska is a place that truly defies easy description. Its scale is so immense, its landscapes so varied and wild, that words can only begin to capture its essence. Known as the last frontier, Alaska stands as one of the planet's final bastions of raw, untamed nature, a realm where the forces of geology, climate, and time have sculpted a world of staggering proportions. To even start to understand Alaska, you must first try to grasp its sheer size. Spanning more than 1.7 million square kilometers, Alaska is by far the largest state in the United States, dwarfing all others. If you were to combine the landmasses of Texas, California, and Montana, Alaska would still be larger, its boundaries stretching across a vast expanse of the North American continent. Imagine overlaying Alaska on a map of the continental United States. Its borders would reach from the Atlantic coast all the way to the Pacific, a testament to its colossal scale. This immense size means that much of the state remains untouched, a sprawling wilderness of mountains, forests, and frozen tundra that stretches beyond the horizon. The vastness of Alaska is matched only by the diversity and grandeur of its natural features. Towering mountain ranges dominate the landscape, with the Alaska Range rising sharply from the earth, crowned by Denali, the highest peak in North America. These mountains are flanked by immense ice fields and glaciers, some of which flow for dozens of miles, carving deep valleys and feeding powerful rivers. Glaciers spilled down from the high peaks, their ancient ice grinding rock into powder and shaping the land over millennia. Great rivers, born from melting snow and ice, carve their way through enormous valleys, winding through forests and tundra, eventually emptying into the sea. Alaska's forests are vast and seemingly endless, stretching from the temperate rainforests of the southeast to the boreal woodlands of the interior. These forests are interspersed with immense tracts of tundra, open, wind-swept plains where the ground is locked in permafrost, a layer of earth that remains frozen year-round. The permafrost shapes the very foundation of the land, creating unique patterns and landscapes found nowhere else on Earth. The geography of Alaska is a study in contrasts. In the southeast, lush, temperate rainforests thrive, nourished by abundant rainfall and mild coastal temperatures. Here, ancient trees tower above a carpet of moss and ferns, and the air is thick with mist. In stark contrast, the Arctic North is a realm of icy, barren plains, where the sun barely rises in winter and never sets in summer, and the land is sculpted by wind, snow, and ice. Each region of Alaska presents its own set of challenges and its own type of beauty. The coastal fjords are carved by glaciers and filled with deep, cold waters. The interior is a land of rolling hills, broad river valleys, and endless forests. The Arctic tundra is stark and open, a place where the sky seems to stretch forever and the land is shaped by the relentless forces of nature. Traveling through Alaska, one can journey for hundreds of miles and see nothing but the raw, untamed beauty of the natural world. The landscape is a tapestry of mountains, rivers, forests, and tundra, each element shaped by the interplay of earth, water, ice, and time. Alaska is not just another region on the map. It is a world apart, a place where the rhythms of nature dominate and the scale of the land inspires awe. Its boundaries are defined not by roads or cities, but by mountain ranges, rivers, and the endless sweep of wilderness. The glaciers, forests, rivers, and tundra of Alaska are not just features of the landscape, they are the landscape. They create a world where the forces of nature are on full display, and where the scale of the environment is both daunting and mesmerizing. In Alaska, the land itself is the main character. Its mountains rise like ancient sentinels, its forests stretch unbroken to the horizon, and its rivers and glaciers move with a slow, relentless power. The silence and solitude of these wild places are profound, offering a glimpse into a world that has remained unchanged for thousands of years. To truly appreciate Alaska is to recognize its vastness, its diversity, and its raw elemental beauty. It is a land governed by the rhythms of nature, a place where the scale of the environment humbles all who witness it. This is the fundamental truth of Alaska, a place of profound wilderness, endless adventure, and unimaginable scale, where the natural world reigns supreme. In Alaska, the absence of roads is not just a quirk of geography, it is a defining element of the landscape itself. Across this immense and untamed territory, the land stretches out in every direction, unbroken by the familiar lines of highways or the grid of city streets. Instead, a vast expanse of mountains, wetlands, dense forests, and frozen tundra dominates the horizon, creating a world where the concept of a road is almost foreign. The terrain itself is a formidable barrier. Towering mountain ranges rise abruptly from the earth, their snow-capped peaks forming natural walls that are nearly impossible to cross by land. Vast wetlands and bogs stretch for miles, their soft, waterlogged ground swallowing any attempt at construction. In winter, the ground freezes solid, but in the brief summer it turns to a patchwork of mud and water, further complicating any effort to lay down roads. With such overwhelming natural obstacles, traditional road networks are simply not feasible. Instead, the sky becomes the primary thoroughfare. Small, rugged aircraft, bushplanes, are a common sight, their sturdy frames and oversized tires perfectly adapted to the rough, uneven surfaces that serve as makeshift runways. These planes are not a luxury but a necessity, forming the backbone of transportation and logistics across the state. Every day, these aircraft crisscross the sky, carrying vital supplies to isolated settlements. Groceries, medicine, building materials, and mail are all loaded into the holds of bushplanes, destined for communities that would otherwise be cut off from the outside world. The logistics are a marvel of coordination and timing, with each flight carefully planned to maximize efficiency and ensure that even the most remote outposts receive what they need. The landing sites themselves are as varied as the landscape. Gravel bars along winding rivers, frozen lakes shimmering under the winter sun, and narrow clearings carved out of dense forest all serve as runways. Each approach is unique, dictated by the contours of the land and the ever-changing weather. The aircraft must be able to handle sudden gusts of wind, shifting ice, and the unpredictable nature of the wilderness. Inside the cockpit, the world is reduced to a set of instruments and the endless expanse of sky and land. Weather is a constant companion, sometimes an ally, often a challenge. Storms can roll in without warning, blanketing the land in fog or snow, and forcing flights to be delayed or rerouted. The rhythm of life in these remote areas is dictated by the elements, with every journey dependent on the whims of nature. In the absence of roads, the arrival of a bush plane is a moment of connection. The sound of engines overhead signals the arrival of goods, news, and the outside world. The logistics of daily life revolve around these flights, with schedules and routines shaped by the availability of air transport. Even the most basic tasks, receiving mail, restocking supplies, or sending out packages, depend on the reliable operation of these aerial lifelines. The process of loading and unloading is a carefully choreographed operation. Supplies are packed with precision, ensuring that every inch of cargo space is used efficiently. Upon arrival, goods are quickly transferred from plane to ground, ready to be distributed throughout the community. The entire system is a testament to adaptability and resourcefulness, honed over generations of living on the edge of the wild. Beyond bushplanes, other methods of transportation play a supporting role. In summer, rivers become highways for boats and barges, carrying heavy equipment and bulk goods to settlements along their banks. In winter, when the land is locked in ice, snow machines and dog sleds traverse the frozen landscape, following ancient trails that have been used for centuries. Each mode of transport is uniquely suited to the season and the terrain, forming a complex web of movement that keeps life in motion. The absence of roads shapes every aspect of existence. Supplies must be ordered well in advance, with careful planning to account for weather delays and limited storage space. Emergency services rely on aircraft for rapid response, and even routine travel between communities is an adventure, involving flights over breathtaking mountains, glaciers, and endless forests. The landscape itself becomes both a barrier and a marvel. Every journey is an immersion in the raw beauty of Alaska, glaciers gleaming in the sun, rivers winding through untouched valleys, and the ever-present expanse of sky. The logistics of living here are a daily challenge, but they also offer a unique perspective on the world, one defined by resilience, ingenuity, and a deep connection to the land. In this environment, the sky is transformed into a network of invisible highways, linking isolated pockets of civilization across the wilderness. Where others might see only impassable terrain, Alaska reveals a world of possibility, navigated not by roads but by the boundless freedom of flight. The story of life without roads in Alaska is a story of adaptation, of finding new ways to connect, to move, and to thrive in one of the most remote and challenging environments on Earth. Here, the wilderness is not an obstacle to be conquered, but a partner in the ongoing dance of survival and ingenuity, where every journey is a testament to the enduring spirit of the land itself. Alaska is a land that is physically alive and constantly changing, a place where the very ground beneath the forests and mountains is in perpetual motion. Its dramatic landscapes are not static relics of the past. They are being actively sculpted by immense geological and climatic forces every single day, creating a living tapestry of earth, ice, and stone. Alaska sits on the edge of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a vast horseshoe-shaped belt of volcanic and seismic activity that encircles the Pacific Ocean. Here, the Pacific Plate grinds relentlessly against the North American Plate, their collision giving rise to towering mountain ranges, deep ocean trenches, and frequent earthquakes. This tectonic boundary makes Alaska one of the most seismically active regions on the planet. The land is crisscrossed by fault lines, some visible as jagged scars across the landscape, others hidden deep beneath the surface. Earthquakes ripple through the region with regularity. Most are minor, their tremors barely perceptible, but they are constant reminders of the immense energy stored within the Earth's crust. Occasionally, the pressure builds to a breaking point, releasing in a sudden, violent rupture. The ground heaves and splits, sending shock waves that can reshape entire valleys and alter the course of rivers. The Great Alaskan Earthquake of 1964 stands as a testament to this power. With a magnitude of 9.2, it remains the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in North America and the second strongest worldwide. The Earth convulsed for nearly 5 minutes, causing coastlines to drop by several meters and unleashing tsunamis that surged across the land. The landscape was forever changed, forests submerged, cliffs collapsed, and new lakes formed in the wake of the upheaval. The scars of this event are still visible today. Sunken coastlines, fractured earth, and altered waterways, all silent witnesses to the raw force of tectonic movement. In some places, the sea claimed entire stretches of land, leaving behind ghostly remnants of what once was and reshaping the boundary between land and ocean. The memory of such cataclysmic events is etched into the very terrain, a reminder that Alaska's surface is never truly at rest. Even today, the land continues to shift and settle as the forces deep within the earth quietly shape the future of this wild frontier. Yet, it is not only the Earth's restless crust that transforms Alaska. The most visible and dramatic agents of change are its glaciers, vast, ancient rivers of ice that dominate the landscape. Alaska is home to more than 100,000 glaciers, ranging from small cirque glaciers nestled in mountain bowls to colossal valley glaciers that stretch for miles, carving deep fjords and shaping entire mountain ranges. Glaciers are not static monuments of ice, they are dynamic, flowing entities moving under their own immense weight. As snow accumulates and compresses over centuries, it transforms into dense glacial ice, which slowly creeps downhill, grinding and gouging the bedrock beneath. The movement of a glacier is a symphony of sound and motion. Deep within the ice, pressure builds, causing the glacier to crack and groan. At the terminus, where the glacier meets the sea, massive chunks of ice break away in thunderous calving events, sending icebergs tumbling into the frigid waters below. Calving is both a spectacular and humbling display of nature's power. The sound echoes across the fjords, a reminder that the landscape is in constant flux. The icebergs that drift away are sculpted by wind and water, slowly melting and releasing ancient air and minerals back into the ecosystem. The scars left behind on the glacier's face are evidence of its ongoing transformation, a visible record of the relentless forces at work. Beneath the surface, another powerful force shapes Alaska: permafrost. This is a layer of soil, rock or sediment that remains frozen for at least 2 consecutive years, but in many places it has persisted for millennia. Permafrost is not uniform. In some areas it lies just a few inches below the surface. In others it extends hundreds of meters deep. It contains vast stores of ancient ice locked away in a frozen matrix that supports the tundra above. As global temperatures rise, the permafrost is beginning to thaw. This process releases trapped water, causing the ground to slump and buckle. Forests can collapse as their roots lose their frozen anchor, and coastlines erode as the land softens and washes away. The thawing permafrost also releases ancient gases, such as methane and carbon dioxide, which have been trapped for thousands of years. These greenhouse gases rise into the atmosphere, further accelerating the cycle of warming and thaw. From the slow, grinding advance of glaciers to the sudden, violent upheaval of earthquakes and the silent, invisible transformation of permafrost, Alaska is a land in motion. Here the forces of nature are not hidden. They are on full, breathtaking display, shaping a landscape that is as dynamic as it is beautiful. Alaska is a land shaped by the extremes of light and darkness, where the rhythm of life is dictated by the sun's remarkable journey across the sky. The state's high latitude means that the sun's path is dramatically different from what is seen in more temperate regions, resulting in extraordinary seasonal phenomena. In the heart of summer, the sun traces a low, sweeping arc above the horizon, never fully setting for weeks on end in the far north. In places like Utqiagvik, the sun remains visible for over 2 months, bathing the tundra in a continuous golden light that never fades into true night. This is the midnight sun, a phenomenon where the sun hovers just above the horizon at midnight, casting long shadows and illuminating the land in a perpetual twilight. The landscape takes on an ethereal quality, with colors intensified and every detail revealed in the soft, unending daylight. Rivers and lakes shimmer with reflected sunlight, and mountains glow with a gentle radiance that never dims, creating a world where time seems suspended. The unbroken sunlight triggers a surge of life in the natural world. Wildflowers burst into bloom, carpeting the tundra in vibrant colors, while mosses and lichens thrive in the constant warmth. Plants grow at an astonishing rate, taking advantage of every hour of sunlight to complete their life cycles in the brief summer season. Animal life is equally transformed. Birds nest and raise their young, caribou calves take their first steps, and countless species feed and grow, all driven by the relentless energy of the sun. Insects swarm in the warmth, and salmon surge upstream in sunlit rivers, all part of a frantic race to make the most of the fleeting abundance. The land itself seems to pulse with life, every organism synchronized to the rhythm of the sun, maximizing growth and activity during this brief window of endless day. Yet, for every period of light, there is an equal and opposite darkness. As the earth tilts away from the sun, the endless daylight of summer gives way to the profound darkness of winter. This is the polar night, when the sun remains hidden below the horizon for weeks or even months, and the land is cloaked in a deep, lingering twilight. In the far north, the sun does not rise at all, and the landscape is enveloped in a cold, blue darkness that stretches endlessly. Occasionally, a faint glow appears on the horizon, a reminder of the sun's presence just out of reach, but true daylight never comes. Temperatures plunge to extreme lows, with the interior regions often experiencing bone-chilling cold, sometimes dropping below -50 degrees Celsius or -58 degrees Fahrenheit. The land becomes silent and still, blanketed in snow and ice, with only the faintest light from the stars and moon illuminating the frozen wilderness. Yet, in this darkness, nature reveals one of its most spectacular wonders, the aurora borealis, or northern lights. On clear, frigid nights, vibrant ribbons of green, pink and purple light ripple and dance across the sky, painting the darkness with celestial color. The aurora's glow reflects off frozen lakes and snowy fields, transforming the landscape into a luminous, otherworldly realm. The environment itself adapts to these extremes, with plants and animals entering periods of dormancy or migration, waiting for the return of the sun. The land of Alaska is defined by this eternal cycle of light and darkness, a place where the sun's presence or absence shapes every aspect of the natural world, creating a landscape of breathtaking contrasts and unique natural wonders. Alaska is a vast sanctuary, a living testament to the wild, where nature's drama unfolds on a scale that is almost unimaginable. Here, immense stretches of tundra, dense boreal forests, icy rivers and rugged coastlines provide a mosaic of habitats for an astonishing array of wildlife. The sheer diversity and abundance of animal life in Alaska is a direct result of its largely untouched landscapes and extreme seasonal cycles, which shape the behaviors and survival strategies of its inhabitants. This land is ruled by giants. Among the most iconic are the bears. Alaska is home to 3 distinct species: the black bear, the formidable brown bear, and the legendary polar bear. Black bears, adaptable and secretive, thrive in the thick forests and coastal regions, foraging for berries, roots, and fish. Brown bears, often called grizzlies, are the undisputed titans of the interior and coastal zones. These powerful omnivores can weigh up to 700 kilograms, and their presence dominates the rivers during the salmon runs. Polar bears, the largest of all, are perfectly adapted to the icy Arctic coast, where they hunt seals on the sea ice and roam the stark frozen expanses. The brown bear's relationship with the salmon is one of Alaska's most dramatic wildlife spectacles. Each summer, as millions of salmon surge upstream to spawn, brown bears gather along rivers and waterfalls, such as the famous Brooks Falls in Kenai National Park. Here, bears display remarkable patience and skill, standing in the rushing water, waiting for the perfect moment to snatch a leaping salmon from mid-air. This annual feast is vital, providing the bears with the fat reserves they need to survive the long, harsh winter. The moose, another giant of the Alaskan wilderness, is the largest member of the deer family. Towering over the landscape, adult moose can weigh up to 700 kilograms and stand taller than a person at the shoulder. They are supremely adapted to the wetlands, forests, and river valleys, feeding on willows, aquatic plants, and shrubs. Despite their seemingly placid demeanor, moose are powerful and unpredictable, capable of moving swiftly through dense brush or deep snow. Their antlers, which can span over 6 feet, are used in dramatic displays and battles during the autumn rut. Alaska's skies are ruled by the bald eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom. With a wingspan that can exceed 2 meters, these raptors soar effortlessly above the forests, rivers, and coastlines. Alaska supports the largest population of bald eagles in the world, thanks to its abundant fish and undisturbed nesting sites. Eagles congregate in great numbers along the coast, especially where salmon are plentiful, and their piercing calls echo across the wilderness. They build massive nests high in spruce trees, returning year after year to raise their young. The annual salmon migration is the heartbeat of Alaska's ecosystems. Each year, millions of salmon, chum, sockeye, coho, pink, and king, undertake an epic journey from the ocean back to the freshwater streams where they were born. This migration is a marvel of instinct and endurance, as the fish battle strong currents, leap waterfalls, and evade predators. The returning salmon bring a surge of nutrients from the sea, fueling not only the bears and eagles, but also wolves, foxes, and even the forests themselves. As salmon spawn and die, their bodies enrich the soil, supporting the growth of trees and plants far from the riverbanks. The interconnectedness of Alaska's wildlife is evident in these seasonal cycles. Bears, eagles, wolves, and countless other species time their activities to the rhythms of the salmon runs. The abundance of fish supports dense populations of predators and scavengers, while the nutrients left behind sustain the entire food web. Even the forests benefit as the remains of salmon fertilize the soil, creating a lush, vibrant ecosystem. Beyond the rivers, the tundra comes alive with the migration of caribou. These remarkable animals form some of the largest herds in North America, with tens of thousands moving together across the vast open landscape. Caribou undertake epic journeys between their wintering grounds in the boreal forests and their summer calving areas on the windswept tundra. Their migrations are synchronized with the changing seasons, allowing them to find the best grazing and avoid the worst of the biting insects and predators. Caribou are vital to the ecosystem, shaping the vegetation and providing food for wolves, bears, and scavenging birds. Alaska's coastal waters are equally rich in life. Humpback whales, with their haunting songs and acrobatic breaches, migrate thousands of kilometers to feed in the nutrient-rich waters of the Inside Passage and Resurrection Bay. Orcas, or killer whales, patrol the coastline in family pods, hunting fish, seals, and even other whales. These marine giants play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the ocean ecosystem, and their presence is a testament to the health of Alaska's seas. The cycles of migration and abundance are not limited to the large mammals and fish. Countless birds, from tiny songbirds to majestic swans, travel to Alaska each summer to breed in the long daylight hours. The wetlands and tundra become a cacophony of calls and colors as birds nest, feed, and raise their young. Many of these species travel thousands of kilometers from distant continents, drawn by the promise of rich feeding grounds and relative safety from predators. Alaska's wilderness is a living tapestry, woven from the lives of its iconic animals and the habitats they depend on. From the icy Arctic coast to the temperate rainforests of the southeast, each ecosystem supports a unique community of creatures, all interconnected in a delicate balance. The survival of one species often depends on the health and abundance of many others, creating a web of life that is both resilient and fragile. Protecting these habitats and the extraordinary creatures that inhabit them is essential for maintaining the wild spirit of Alaska. The state remains one of the world's last great wildlife strongholds, a place where nature still reigns supreme and the ancient rhythms of life continue largely undisturbed as they have for millennia. Alaska's remoteness and vast untamed wilderness have shaped a way of life that is unlike anywhere else in the world. Here, the land itself dictates the rhythms of existence, and the systems that have developed are a direct response to the challenges and opportunities presented by this unique environment. The economy of Alaska is deeply intertwined with its natural resources, most notably oil. The discovery of vast oil reserves beneath the frozen ground led to the construction of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, a monumental feat of engineering that snakes across the landscape, connecting the remote North Slope to the southern port of Valdez. In the late 1970s, Alaska made a groundbreaking decision to invest a portion of its oil revenue into a sovereign wealth fund, the Alaska Permanent Fund. The earnings from this fund are distributed annually as dividends, a system designed to ensure that the wealth generated from the land benefits all who call Alaska home. The Permanent Fund Dividend, or PFD, is a unique feature of Alaskan life. Each year, the fund's investment returns are calculated, and a portion is set aside for distribution. The arrival of the dividend is a much-anticipated event, marking a moment when the state's natural bounty is shared directly with its residents, reinforcing the idea that Alaska's resources belong to the land itself and those who are stewards of it. Alaska's economic independence is further reflected in its tax policies. With no state income tax and no statewide sales tax, the state relies heavily on resource extraction revenues. This financial structure is rare in the United States and is a testament to the state's ability to harness its natural wealth for the collective good. Beyond oil, Alaska's economy is supported by mining and fishing. The harbors brim with boats ready to harvest the sea's bounty, and the land is dotted with mines extracting gold, zinc, and other minerals. These industries are the lifeblood of many communities, their presence a constant reminder of the state's reliance on the land and sea. Alaska's unique environment has also given rise to cultural traditions that are found nowhere else. The Midnight Sun game, played in Fairbanks each summer, is a celebration of the endless daylight that graces the far north. As the sun hovers above the horizon at midnight, the baseball field glows with a surreal light, and the game continues without the need for artificial illumination. This event is a testament to the adaptability and creativity that define Alaskan culture. The spirit of adaptation is visible everywhere. Structures are built to withstand fierce winds and heavy snow, and the landscape is dotted with evidence of ingenuity, cabins, shelters, and tools designed for survival in a place where the environment can change in an instant. Aviation is another cornerstone of Alaskan life. With few roads connecting the vast expanse of the state, small aircraft are essential for transportation, supply runs, and emergency services. The bush plane is as iconic as the sled dog, its presence a symbol of freedom and connection in a land where isolation is the norm. Learning to fly is a rite of passage for many Alaskans, and the state boasts more pilots and aircraft per capita than anywhere else in the nation. The skies above Alaska are crisscrossed with flight paths, each one a lifeline connecting remote communities to the outside world. These aircraft are not just tools of convenience. They are vital for survival. They deliver supplies, transport goods, and provide access to medical care. In many places, the arrival of a plane is the only link to civilization, a reminder of the delicate balance between isolation and connection. The Alaskan way of life is defined by a blend of economic independence, resourcefulness, and a profound connection to the outdoors. The land demands resilience, but it also offers a sense of freedom and possibility that is unmatched. The culture here is forged by isolation, extreme weather, and the ever-present opportunity for adventure. The land is both a challenge and a gift, shaping every aspect of life. In Alaska, the unexpected is always close at hand. A snowstorm in May, a moose wandering through town, or the earth trembling beneath your feet. These are reminders of nature's power and unpredictability. Preparedness is a way of life. The tools of survival are always at the ready, and the landscape itself is a constant teacher, demanding respect and ingenuity. In the end, Alaska offers a life of profound solitude and freedom, where the dividends of the land, the traditions of midnight baseball, and the wings of bush plains all speak to the enduring relationship between people and the wild, untamed world they inhabit, even when no one is in sight. Across Alaska, settlements emerge as islands of order amid a sea of untamed wilderness. Each city and town is a testament to the relentless forces of nature and the enduring presence of the wild, their forms shaped by the land, the climate, and the ever-present challenge of survival. These are not sprawling urban landscapes, but compact clusters of structures, pressed close by forests, mountains, and water. The wilderness presses in on all sides, dictating the boundaries and the very existence of these settlements. In Juneau, the state capital, the cityscape is hemmed in by steep, forested mountains and the endless expanse of the sea. Roads end abruptly at the water's edge, or vanish into the dense green, and the city's footprint is confined to a narrow strip between the elements. The city nestles at the base of towering peaks, with the massive Juneau ice field looming in the distance. Glacial ice creeps down from the heights, its slow movement carving valleys and feeding rivers that wind through the landscape. The Mendenhall Glacier, a river of ancient ice, ends in a cold, silty lake. Its presence shapes the land, grinding rock into fine powder and leaving behind a landscape of moraines, meltwater streams, and newly exposed earth. Within the glacier, shifting and melting, ice forms temporary caverns, cathedrals of blue, sculpted by water and time. These fleeting spaces are illuminated by filtered light, their walls smooth and cold, echoing the glacier's slow transformation. Along the inside passage, towns cling to the shoreline, their buildings perched on narrow strips of land between the forest and the sea. The relentless tides and the dense moss-draped woods shape every corner, every edge. Sitka sits at the meeting point of ocean and forest, where the land rises steeply from the water. The landscape is marked by the scars of ancient volcanoes and the deep green of temperate rainforest, with the sea ever present, shaping the shore. The town's structures stand among towering totem poles and beneath the shadow of onion-domed buildings, all set against a backdrop of towering spruce and cedar. The forest encroaches, its roots and branches weaving through the edges of the settlement. In Ketchikan, rain falls almost constantly, draping the town in mist and feeding the streams that rush through the landscape. The buildings rise on stilts above the water, adapting to the ceaseless wet and the ever-changing tides. The rainforest thrives here, its thick canopy sheltering rivers teeming with life. Salmon leap upstream, their journey shaping the land as they carve channels and nourish the soil. Among the trees, totem poles rise, their forms weathered by rain and time, standing as silent witnesses to the cycles of growth and decay that define the forest. Elsewhere, the land bears the marks of resource extraction. Old mining towns are scattered across the wilderness, their structures slowly being reclaimed by moss, lichen, and the encroaching forest. Skagway lies at the mouth of a deep valley, its main street leading toward the mountains. The land here is shaped by glacial rivers and the scars of gold rush trails winding up into the high country. The White Pass and Yukon Route Railway climbs steep grades, its tracks hugging cliffs and crossing deep ravines, a testament to the challenge of traversing this rugged terrain. Valdez sits at the head of a deep fjord, surrounded by the snow-laden Chugach Mountains. The landscape is shaped by avalanches and glacial movement, with the pipeline terminal marking the end of a journey across the state. Each winter, snow piles high, blanketing the town and mountains in silence. The weight of snow shapes roofs and roads, and the landscape transforms into a world of white, sculpted by wind and gravity. Talkeetna rests at the confluence of rivers, with the massive silhouette of Denali rising in the distance. The land here is braided with waterways, and the mountain's presence dominates the horizon, its glaciers feeding the rivers below. Anchorage sprawls at the edge of the wilderness, where the city's boundaries blur into forests, wetlands, and mountains. The wild is never far, its presence felt in every direction. Wildlife moves freely through the city's green spaces, and the landscape is shaped by the rhythms of migration and the cycles of the seasons. The city sits atop shifting ground, its structures designed to withstand the tremors that occasionally ripple through the earth. The memory of past upheaval is etched into the city's foundations, a constant reminder of the land's restless energy. In the heart of the interior, Fairbanks endures wild swings of temperature. The landscape shifts from sun-baked tundra in summer to a frozen expanse in winter, and above it all, the aurora borealis dances, painting the sky with shifting colors. Each settlement, whether nestled in forest, perched by the sea, or standing alone on the tundra, is shaped and defined by the wilderness. The land is ever-changing, and the cities carved from it are in constant dialogue with the forces that surround them: weather, water, ice, and the slow, patient growth of the wild. Alaska's wild heart beats strongest in its great sanctuaries: Denali, Glacier Bay, and Brooks Falls, where nature reigns in its purest form, untouched and unspoiled. These lands are not merely protected, they are living, breathing worlds, each a masterpiece of ecological complexity and natural wonder. Denali National Park stretches across more than 24,000 square kilometers of untamed wilderness. Here the land rolls in endless waves of tundra, boreal forest, and alpine meadows, all watched over by the towering presence of Denali itself. The mountain known as the Great One rises to 6,190 meters, its snow-clad summit often lost in swirling clouds. This colossal peak shapes the very climate around it, generating its own weather systems and casting a silent, commanding presence over the land. On clear days, Denali's summit gleams against the sky, a vision of raw alpine majesty. The slopes below are alive with the drama of survival. Grizzly bears roam the open tundra, foraging for roots and berries. Herds of caribou migrate across the hillsides, their antlers silhouetted against the horizon. Dull sheep nimbly scale the sheer cliffs, their white coats blending with patches of lingering snow. In the shadowed forests and open valleys, wolves move silently, their presence felt more than seen, maintaining the delicate balance of predator and prey. Denali is a realm where the rhythms of nature unfold undisturbed. The land is shaped by ancient glaciers, braided rivers, and the slow, patient work of wind and weather. Here every creature, from the smallest vole to the mightiest bear, plays a role in the intricate web of life. The park's vastness and isolation allow natural processes to continue as they have for millennia, making it a living laboratory of evolution and adaptation. Far to the south, Glacier Bay National Park tells a story written in ice and stone. Just over 2 centuries ago, a single massive glacier filled the entire bay, grinding rock into powder and carving deep fjords. Since then, the glacier has retreated more than 100 kilometers, revealing a landscape of breathtaking beauty: pristine inlets, towering cliffs, and forests slowly reclaiming the land. Today, tidewater glaciers still flow down from the mountains, their blue ice carving into the sea with thunderous crashes. The bay's cold, nutrient-rich waters teem with life. Humpback whales rise from the depths, their massive forms breaking the surface in graceful arcs. Sea otters float among the kelp beds, grooming their fur and cracking open shellfish. Harbor seals rest on drifting ice, while bald eagles soar overhead, scanning the water for fish. Glacier Bay is a living chronicle of ecological succession. As the ice retreats, new land is colonized by mosses and lichens, followed by wildflowers, shrubs, and eventually dense forests. Each stage brings new species, new interactions, and new opportunities for life to flourish. The bay's fjords and estuaries provide sanctuary for countless birds, fish, and marine mammals, making it one of the richest and most dynamic ecosystems in Alaska. In the wilds of Kenai National Park, Brooks Falls stands as a testament to the power and abundance of nature. Here, the river surges over a rocky ledge, creating a natural barrier that draws salmon on their epic journey upstream. Each summer, the falls become a stage for one of nature's most dramatic spectacles, the salmon run. Brown bears gather at the falls, each one employing its own unique technique to catch the leaping fish. Some stand atop the waterfall, jaws open, waiting for salmon to leap directly into their mouths. Others wade in the pools below, using swift paws to snatch their prey from the churning water. The air is filled with the sound of rushing water and the splash of salmon as bears compete for the richest fishing spots. The scene is a study in natural hierarchy. Dominant males claim the prime positions at the top of the falls, while younger bears and mothers with cubs wait downstream. seizing their chance when the opportunity arises. Each bear's personality is revealed in its approach. Some are patient and methodical, others bold and aggressive. The abundance of salmon sustains not only the bears, but also eagles, foxes, and countless other creatures that depend on the river's bounty. Denali, Glacier Bay, and Brooks Falls are more than landscapes. They are living worlds, shaped by ancient forces and inhabited by creatures perfectly adapted to their wild domains. These places are sanctuaries for life in all its forms, where the cycles of birth, survival, and renewal continue, undisturbed and eternal. In their silence and grandeur, they reveal the true soul of wild Alaska. To exist on the edge of Alaska's wilderness is to witness a world shaped by relentless forces, where every element of the environment is both a challenge and a marvel. Here, the land is a living testament to resilience, carved by glaciers, battered by storms, and blanketed in snow for much of the year. The landscape demands adaptation. Towering spruce and hardy willows cling to the thin soil, their roots weaving through permafrost, anchoring themselves against fierce winds and shifting ground. Mosses and lichens carpet the forest floor, thriving where little else can survive, drawing sustenance from the brief, intense summer sun. Life here is a study in adaptation. In the short summer, wildflowers erupt in a riot of color, racing to bloom and seed before the cold returns. The tundra, seemingly barren, conceals a web of roots and bulbs that store energy through the endless winter night. The environment is unforgiving. Avalanches thunder down steep slopes, reshaping the land in moments. Blizzards sweep across the plains, erasing all traces of what came before, demanding patience and endurance from every living thing. Isolation is the rule. Vast distances separate forests from mountains, rivers from tundra. The silence is profound, broken only by the wind or the distant crack of shifting ice. The seasons dictate the rhythm of life. Spring arrives in a rush, melting ice and flooding rivers, while summer brings a frenzy of growth and activity. Autumn is brief, a golden interlude before the world is locked once more in winter's grip. The land is a teacher. It teaches patience as the sun lingers on the horizon for weeks, or disappears entirely in the depths of winter. It teaches humility as the aurora dances overhead, reminding all who witness it of the vastness and mystery of the world. The glaciers are ancient storytellers, their slow movement carving valleys and shaping coastlines. When they carve into the sea, the sound echoes for miles, a reminder of the power and impermanence of even the mightiest forms. The wilderness edge is a place of constant transformation. Rivers shift their courses, meadows bloom and fade, and the land itself seems to breathe with the changing seasons. Weather is both sculptor and destroyer. Storms can strip the land bare or nourish it with life-giving rain. The interplay of sun, wind, and water creates a dynamic, ever-changing tapestry. Every plant and tree is a survivor, shaped by centuries of adaptation. Some grow low to the ground to avoid the wind, others develop thick bark or waxy leaves to conserve precious moisture and withstand the cold. Even in the harshest months, life persists. Beneath the snow, roots and seeds wait for the return of warmth. Tracks crisscross the landscape, evidence of creatures adapted to survive in the cold and dark. The return of light brings renewal. Rivers break free from their icy prisons, and the first green shoots push through the thawing earth, signaling the start of another cycle of life. The environment rewards those who are patient and observant. Subtle changes mark the passage of time, the lifting of fog, the sparkle of dew, the gradual return of color to the land. In the end, the wilderness edge is a place of balance between abundance and scarcity, calm and storm, light and darkness. It is a world where survival is an art and adaptation is the only constant. As the climate shifts and the land changes, the wilderness continues to adapt, finding new ways to endure and flourish. The story of Alaska's wild edge is one of transformation, resilience, and the enduring power of nature itself. For those who seek to understand the meaning of life on the wilderness edge, it is here, in the silence, the struggle, and the beauty of the land itself, that the answers are found. Beneath Alaska's icy peaks and endless forests lies a restless, churning force, an ancient power shaping the land from deep within the earth. Alaska's volcanic landscapes form a dramatic frontier where fire and ice collide in a dance of creation and destruction. The Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutian Arc are home to over 40 active volcanoes, their silhouettes punctuating the horizon, cloaked in mist and crowned with snow. These volcanoes are born along the Pacific Ring of Fire, where tectonic plates grind and collide, forcing molten rock upward through fractures in the Earth's crust. Over millennia, repeated eruptions have built vast mountains and sculpted islands from the sea, layering ash and lava into monumental cones that rise above the clouds. Each eruption is a spectacle of raw energy. Columns of ash soar skyward, darkening the sun and blanketing the land in a fine, fertile dust. Rivers of molten lava carve new valleys and reshape coastlines, their relentless heat melting glaciers and sending torrents of water racing down the slopes. The land is in constant flux. Calderas collapse, new vents open, and ancient craters fill with turquoise lakes steaming and shimmering in the cold air. Volcanic soils nurture a surprising richness. After the fire subsides, ash and minerals feed the roots of mosses and the first hardy plants, setting the stage for new life to take hold. Over time, forests creep back across the slopes, their trunks charred and twisted, yet thriving in the mineral-rich ground. The scars of past eruptions are everywhere, fields of pumice and basalt, rivers rerouted by ancient lava flows, islands born from underwater explosions. Hot springs bubble up from the depths, their mineral-laden waters staining the earth in vivid hues of orange and green. Fumaroles hiss and steam, exhaling the breath of the planet into the frigid air. Alaska's volcanic landscapes are a testament to the planet's restless spirit. Here the land is never truly still. It rumbles and shifts, forever reshaping itself. In this world of extremes, destruction and creation are inseparable, and every mountain tells a tale written in fire and stone. Above Alaska's silent wilderness, long winter nights become a stage for one of nature's most mesmerizing performances, the aurora borealis, or northern lights. As darkness settles over endless forests and frozen tundra, curtains of color unfurl across the sky, shimmering in waves of emerald, violet, and scarlet. This ethereal spectacle is born from the invisible dance of solar winds and Earth's magnetic field. Far above the land, charged particles from the sun race toward Earth at incredible speeds. When these solar winds reach the planet, they are drawn toward the magnetic poles, funneled into the upper atmosphere. Here they collide with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen, transferring their energy in a burst of light. Oxygen glows green and red, nitrogen radiates blue and purple. The result is a living tapestry of shifting hues, rippling and twisting in the polar night. The aurora's shapes are as varied as their colors. Arcs stretch from horizon to horizon, then break into pulsating bands and swirling spirals. Sometimes the lights seem to rain down in shimmering curtains, while at other times they flicker and dance in silent bursts. The spectacle changes minute by minute, a silent symphony written in light. The northern lights are more than a visual marvel. They subtly shape the world below. When the auroras blaze brightest, they can alter the composition of the upper atmosphere, affecting the delicate balance of air and energy. Magnetic storms ripple through the skies, influencing the migration of birds and the orientation of animals that rely on Earth's magnetic field. Even the landscape is touched as faint auroral glows reflect off snow and ice, bathing mountains and valleys in ghostly color. In the heart of the long polar night, the aurora borealis transforms Alaska's darkness into a canvas for cosmic wonder. Here, beneath the ever-changing sky, the land is illuminated by a beauty that is both fleeting and eternal, a silent reminder of the powerful forces that shape our world from above. Deep within Alaska, beyond the reach of tundra and towering peaks, lie ancient forests, verdant realms where time moves at the pace of growing trees. Here, in the shadowed silence, spruce and hemlock rise like sentinels, their trunks thick with centuries of moss and lichen. These are forests that have stood since the last ice retreated, where every layer tells a story written in bark, needles, and soil. Under the dense canopy, a world of astonishing biodiversity thrives. Ferns unfurl in the cool, damp understory, their delicate fronds catching the filtered light. Mushrooms and fungi, in shapes both fantastical and strange, weave a hidden network beneath the fallen leaves, recycling nutrients and binding the forest floor together. Among the roots, carpets of moss and clusters of wildflowers create a living tapestry, blueberries, cloudberries, and the rare ghostly white Indian pipe. Towering above, the Sitka spruce and western hemlock stretch skyward, their branches draped in veils of old man's beard lichen. These giants provide shelter for countless species. Voles nest beneath their roots, while tiny songbirds flit through the branches, feeding on seeds and insects. In the shadows, lynx and pine marten move in silence, woven into the fabric of life that pulses through the forest. These ancient woodlands are more than a collection of trees. They are living archives of Alaska's past, lungs that breathe out oxygen and draw in carbon, stabilizing the land and nurturing the rivers that flow to the sea. Fallen logs become nurseries for new growth, while the slow decay of wood enriches the soil, fueling the endless cycle of renewal. Every inch of these forests is alive with subtle relationships, a symphony played out in green, gold, and shadow. From the tiniest moss spore to the tallest spruce, Alaska's ancient forests hold secrets as old as the land itself, a testament to endurance, resilience, and the quiet power of nature's oldest guardians. Across the vast expanse of Alaska, ribbons of water carve their way through mountains, forests, and tundra, untamed rivers and shimmering waterways that pulse with the heartbeat of the land. From glacier-fed torrents to meandering streams, these liquid highways shape the terrain in ways both dramatic and subtle. In spring, as the sun's warmth awakens the frozen world, snowmelt swells the rivers, sending icy torrents rushing toward the sea. Waterfalls thunder down ancient cliffs, while braided channels unfurl across gravel plains, sculpting new islands and ever-changing banks. The rivers carry silt, stone, and stories, grinding valleys deeper, nourishing distant deltas, and weaving the patchwork of Alaska's wild mosaic. Along their banks, life gathers in abundance. In the shadowy depths, salmon begin their timeless journey upstream, weaving through tangles of roots and submerged logs. Their shimmering bodies draw the gaze of eagles perched above, while otters slip silently through reed-fringed backwaters. Moose wade into slow-moving channels, feeding on aquatic plants, as dragonflies dart above the mirrored surface. The waterways thread through wetlands and forests, feeding hidden oxbow lakes and vast stretches of muskeg. Beavers engineer intricate dams, transforming trickling streams into labyrinths of ponds and marshes, creating sanctuaries for frogs, waterfowl, and turtles. Willow thickets flourish where the river's fingers linger, sheltering warblers and voles in their leafy embrace. As autumn descends, the rivers run clear and cold. Leaves drift downstream in a golden tide, tracing the slow retreat of summer. Ice crystals begin to lace the shallows, and the water's song softens beneath the gathering hush of winter. Soon, thick sheets of ice seal the surface, and snow blankets the frozen landscape, muffling the world in silence. Yet beneath the ice, the rivers flow on, dark and determined, carrying nutrients and life through the long, cold months. When spring returns, the cycle begins anew, and Alaska's waterways burst forth with renewed vigor. sustaining the wild heart of the land. These rivers are more than mere channels of water. They are sculptors' lifelines and the silent architects of Alaska's wilderness, ever-changing, ever-present, and forever vital to the enduring tapestry of life. In the heart of Alaska's wilderness, a symphony unfolds, one not written by human hands, but by the land itself. Here, silence is never truly silent. Instead, it is a living canvas, painted with the voices of wild things and the restless breath of the earth. At dawn, the stillness is broken by the haunting calls of loons echoing across glassy lakes, their cries lingering in the mist. Songbirds greet the rising sun with a chorus of trills, whistles, and fluttering wings, their melodies weaving through dense spruce forests and open tundra alike. In the shadowy undergrowth, the soft rustle of feathers and the gentle tapping of woodpeckers blend with the distant croak of ravens, carried on the chill morning breeze. As the day warms, the landscape pulses with new sounds. Water trickles and gurgles in hidden creeks, while the wind sighs through alder thickets and sets trembling aspen leaves to whisper. Squirrels chatter in the branches, their sharp barks punctuating the hum of insect wings. In the wetlands, the rhythmic drumming of frogs joins the splashes of leaping fish and the low, resonant calls of sandhill cranes drifting overhead. Thunderheads gather on the horizon, and the sky rumbles with distant power. Rain begins as a soft patter, swelling to a steady drumbeat against moss and leaf, punctuated by the crash of thunder and the hiss of wind-driven squalls. After the storm, the land exhales, a chorus of droplets falling from needles and fronds, the gurgle of swollen streams, and the renewed chatter of wildlife. Night descends, and a new movement begins. Wolves raise their voices in mournful harmony, their howls rolling over hills and through valleys, answered by the eerie wail of an owl from the darkness. In the hush between calls, the subtle crackle of frost settling, the distant rumble of shifting ice, and the soft, endless hush of snowflakes complete the nocturne. Through every season and every hour, Alaska's wild soundscape endures, a living symphony shaped by wind and water, by wing and paw, by the eternal rhythm of the untamed land. In this vast and ancient wilderness, the music of nature plays on, timeless and true.